Okay, reluctant therapist here. I am so sorry. I hate sometimes technology and how it confines us in our lives. That is a subject for a video of another day. But here I am in the middle of trying to tell you about this cool thing that I was going to use as an example of folk art with my art therapy group. And this was for Jasper by... I'm going to have to take that sticker off there and figure this out. But it is made in Mexico. This is going to be an example of folk art. And, probably what I'll do is plan to do a Mexican Day of the Dead project in the art therapy class, art therapy group, and use this as the inspiration. Because sometimes people seeing things really helps. I have a art therapy group right now, which is a lot of people who do have artistic experience. So they're a little more brave and want to try things that patients that are new to art therapy are not going to necessarily try. So I find with the art supplies, it's kind of good to have a lot of basic things that even people who don't have a lot of confidence in their ability to use a brush or a sketch can do. And this is where the rubber stamps come in. I actually paid $3 a pack for these. Oh, again, from the lady I wasn't very happy with at the yard sale, but yes, I know these are very expensive, and you couldn't possibly let them go for more than $3. But honestly, what in the hell are you going to do with them after you've used them for a while? And to be perfectly honest, I'm not even so sure she used them. I mean, they don't even look like they've been used. They don't look like the stamps that I've used before. So I don't know why she was so attached to them, but there are those people out there who actually need to come to therapy. But anyway, she committed the biggest sin that here I am. This is why I'm called the reluctant therapist, because sometimes my faith in people isn't the best after 30 years of doing this. But anyway, you don't put something out at a yard sale and then when somebody comes up to you to buy it, say, oh, you know what? I'm putting that back in the house. I really want to keep that. Don't do it. Don't do it. It tends to piss people off. Anyway, I did get these from her. They're fairly generic. I also have a lot of cardstock. That's the part you don't know. From things in the past when I used to print my own cards out. Cardstock is actually very expensive. So I can use these with those. And what happens is patients can make greeting cards. With the stamps, it's easy to pad the stamp on a pad of ink and pad it on the paper, but come up with a design, and everybody can use the same stamps and actually come up with completely different looking things. So making cards, particularly around the holidays or just for fun. Partly this is for a break from some of the heavier dutier art therapy exercises, or a lot of my patients don't have a lot of money, so buying cards is expensive. That's not something they would spend money on, so making something special for someone that they can take and then use is always nice. And I have other stamps that are more kid related that I use therapeutically. There's a product, it's really hard to find. I had to find it again on eBay. It was one of those things. This is one of the reasons why I do the yard sale is if you work for an agency that allows you to buy things, but then you have to keep them there and you can't take them with you when you leave, you get upset when you lose things that you really used a lot. And one product that I used a lot with kids was called Stamp a Story. I don't have it right here because it's at the office, but it's one of those things that if you, I got it on eBay, and now I have my own personal set, but it's using rubber stamps to tell a story, and then you can color it in. And that's the thing about rubber stamps that's really cool. You make the impression with ink, and then you can color it in, and everybody knows how much overused in therapy coloring is. So, which is not, I don't know. Big controversy is coloring in coloring books, therapy or not. I'm not going to touch that one with the 10-foot pole. I can go either way about that because I'm a Libra. But I'll let you guys fight it out on the comment section. So far, we got then this box of ribbons, and I haven't even gone through this. It looked like somebody had actually taken these ribbons and made some flat stars out of them, and a lot of these look very Christmassy, but interesting. This could be what I was looking for, and what I'm looking for sometimes is things that can be glued onto surfaces to do embellishments. This is actually quite cool that they made all these little stars out of ribbon, and I wouldn't even begin to know how to do that. This woman was just placed in a nursing home, and her family was having this sale. She was quite the quilter. I could have bought like oodles of quilting fabric, but I just wasn't going there yet. These are all those little stars. See, that's the surprises when you buy boxes and stuff. I mean, my patients are going to really love that. We'll see what they do with it. And then the rest of this is ribbons. And, you know, I asked her, what we're really looking for is, you know, things that we can glue on the canvas onto objects. We do not need AOL for 1,045 hours. Is AOL even in business anymore? So ribbons can be cut and used as edging on paintings, on rocks, on different things, and that's pretty much what I was looking for. There's a lot of gold in here, but then I looked and there's some silver. My patients love metallic. There's some rickrack. I'm not breeding any litters of puppies right now, but that could come in handy. And then I just found a chicken egg thing in here, so he'll probably go in with the sand tray. I haven't really looked at this whole box to see what's in here. I think it's mostly ribbon and trim, pieces of trim. My cat was in here. She found something she really liked, and I had to get her away from there. Oh, and here's, look at this. See, these are all little florist picks. So we might end up using that at some point. And, you know, I don't keep all this in the cabinet in the group room because, as you can imagine, this is stuff I would take in just for special projects. I also, at another yard sale, picked up some more used Staedtler erasers. Staedtler is a German company that makes drawing and art, and I can go through these like crazy, these Staedtler erasers. So anyway, you get the idea. Box of ribbons. I think I paid $15. Now see, there's a real modern looking one. And this is what the cat wanted. I don't know what was so special about this. And there's Ziggy. Ziggy, okay, cats love strings. And the only reason I can think they love strings is mouse guts. I hate to say it, but whoops, sorry, Fergus. That's my dog, one of my dogs. Ziggy, Ziggy, Ziggy. See how much she listens? Ziggy. You wouldn't be coming to art group. Oh, it's crunchy because it's got metal in it. There's some cording. This woman was a quilter, and she, again, I asked them how much for this, and they're like $10 because Grandma made it. Well, if Grandma made it, why is it out in the yard sale? I mean, seriously. But anyway, I did pick this up. Probably just to have as a runner on the table in my office. My office is very bright colors, and And I love all the batik fabrics on here. This is actually quite modern for an old lady making this. I love to have quilts in the office. I love to have quilts as decoration. I love to have quilts just that people can wrap themselves up in if they're cold or they want comfort. So I have blanket quilts in my office and decorative quilts. I find that quilts... Maniac. Wish there was a lid for this tote. Okay. This is not... This looks like an intestinal obstruction getting ready to happen. Yes. Ziggy. Oh my goodness. Okay. So along with, of course, just the ribbons by themselves, you know, you have to get other things for embellishments when you're doing art projects. And so at another sale, I found, I was getting low on money at this time, a bag of buttons. Buttons are also another thing that you can glue. And I haven't even begun to look at all these buttons. There's so many in here. And probably what I'm going to end up doing is separating them out in some sort of fashion, like, you know, small buttons, white buttons. People will use them for repeating patterns. They'll use them because they have interesting features. Again, we want to glue them on things to be a sort of embellishment. There are, I don't even know how many buttons in here. And this comes from also little tools. Tools, I didn't get this at a yard sale. I got this little package of tools, wire cutters and pliers at that we can use with wire, and also cut off the backs of some buttons. And like one of these sets, I think was $5.99, but like those would be used over and over again for these kinds of beading projects, jewelry projects, art projects with the patient. So that's going to end up being used over and over. It's a five-piece plier set. Ziggy. Oh my God, he's absolutely, yeah, wait, you went after the same thing. What is it about this that is so fascinating? But it's plastic and I don't want you chewing on it. This is not a cat toy. Okay, I did get some cookbooks because I collect cookbooks and some measuring spoons, because let me tell you, you can never have enough of these when you cook. Or even for craft projects, mixing glitter jars, glue, these actually may end up in the art therapy closet as a tool, because you get these recipes for clay or porcelain, or, for art projects. They can never have enough of those. So we went over the stamps, we went over the buttons, we went over the ribbons. There he goes again. Ziggy, you're just the cutest thing ever. Oh, now we're just gonna egg him on. We might as well make a game out of it. This I got for 50 cents. Again, you can never have as many of these. If you're working with beads, buttons, anything, I can pick up this. And also at the estate sale, which was the 3 estate sales together, I got some plaid edging. It's a little dirty, but it's going to be used for art. The plaid's unusual. That's going to go in with the ribbons. These were actually for my own use, because we go through these like crazy at my house, patching old jeans. That's not really more ribbon. I could have bought a lot more ribbon there, but I had already bought ribbon. And then these rubber pads, I know they look like they'd be for cleaning pots, but they're actually a kind of a rubber stamp for a background. So they will go with the stamping stuff. And these are just some sewing needles and things. I found this vintage, the Passion Hunters little risque there. But in the adult art group, somebody might want to glue that. It's actually a magnet. That's something a reseller. Look, they're playing Jenga. I have Jenga in my office to use with the kids. But these people are naked. Anyway, well, at least she is. But she has shoes on. Anyway, it might go in with the tchotchke stuff. Somebody might use it in an art thing. It's just a little magnet. I don't even know where something like that came from. Anyway. And also found there, this is exactly what I mean by embellishments. These were probably for craft projects. They're flat, which makes them easy to glue. They'll go in to be used for an art project. This is the kind of thing I was looking for. Something like this at a craft shop or Walmart could end up costing me, like $5 for half this. Whereas at this yard sale, I got this for 50 cents. I would have preferred to pay less, but, that will definitely get used in the art group. So, one thing else I got at this estate sale. At first, I thought maybe it was from a state hospital, but actually what it is it was a pill bottle. It's filled with safety pins, but that's not why I bought it. I bought it because I like historical medical stuff. I find that really interesting. This is Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, U.S. Public Health Service Hospital in San Francisco, California. It's typewritten on a typewriter. 1 tablet each day for prophylaxis, 2 each day for therapy. Dr. Jones, 1965. This is the Department of Health and Human Services now, but they were called the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare from 1953 to 1979, according to Wikipedia. And my guess is this was an antibiotic used for when somebody was traveling, where they would take the tablets to, and it doesn't tell you what it is. There's some writing on there, but it doesn't tell you exactly what was in here. So I don't know in 1965 if they could do that and if that was a change in pharmacy. Let us know if you know. But I'm assuming this was something you take to avoid illness, and then if you got sick, you would take double the dose. It also doesn't say who the patient is, which I thought was interesting. It says G.E. Jones, and I'm assuming that's the doctor because it was prescribed by Dr. Jones. I'm assuming that the patient and the doctor weren't named Jones. There's some writing on there. I can't really make it out. It's kind of scratches, but I thought that was a little interesting. And it was 50 cents. Probably paid too much for that too. So, art-wise also, and this was very interesting. Last week we ended up to a sale, and I was actually going to use these reading glasses also for an art project. I figure we could take the backs off. They were free at a sale, these two, and maybe glue them to something for an art project. Unless somebody needs reading glasses, and then they can have them. So what this is, gosh darn, this is very interesting. This guy had a bin of all these different tools, and he said to me that his father-in-law used to be an orthodontist, and that's what these were. This thing he showed me, and he ended up, this actually holds things, so it gives you like a third, fourth hand here. I thought this might be helpful in the art group for people who, have to have something held. Fly tyers could use this when they're tying flies. But this is actually a piece of orthodontic equipment on it, and I know there's no way for, probably this is going to be able to focus on Orthodontic Specialty Laboratories. But we're going to use it for the art group. And we found all these things. I took every dental mirror. Do you want to look at your teeth? Ziggy? Ziggy's not only about 1 year and 3 months old, so he's very, very playful boy. I figured we could make flowers out of these. Dental instruments, believe it or not, are sold very cheaply used, and so it's not like they have a whole lot of worth, but I figured, wouldn't it be interesting to make a little, or maybe we could make a mobile and take it to the dental clinic and as a joke or something. But a lot of these are stainless steel or chromed. These are like wire cutters, I'm presumably for cutting wires off of people's braces. But again, we could use those in the art therapy group. So what I did was I picked up all the forceps, all the wire cutters, and then he had some really unique things that I figure for wrapping wire, maybe we could use that. It's an orthodontics tool. But I basically picked up the things that I thought we might be able to use somehow in our art group. So a lot of the picks and dental picks and things like that I did not pick up. I don't know, I think I have about 9 or 10 of these mirrors, and I figured we could make some sort of a art project with those, and then these other tools we could use for actually just like I had the set that I bought from the feed store. Maybe we could use these for art projects. I have no idea what the formal terms of any of these things are. A number of these are like curved scissors or flat scissors. Unusual, definitely. And we're going to be limited to, because I honestly don't think we're going to be cutting into stainless steel or anything high-tech like that. So maybe a little flower arrangement where we stick this in florist foam or something and make mirrored flowers or something with them. It's he wanted $50 for the whole tray, but then he had them priced 30 cents a piece. And he didn't really even understand that, like, at 30 cents a piece, they wouldn't even all total to $50. He really did seem to, and he was probably, like, quite up there in age, too. So I think he wasn't really prepared for what he was selling. But between the usefulness of the tools and then the mirrors, and at the least, the forceps I use when I'm fishing to get hooks out of the mouths of fish. And I can always use a couple of pairs of forceps, or to when I have to sometimes do lancing abscess on the farm animals or whatever. I have to take the scalpel blades off with forceps so I don't get cut. So, you know, but this mainly was meant for the art therapy. But I can definitely use it in other ways as well. So this little gadget is kind of interesting. So anyway, that's pretty much it for all the art therapy supplies. We're really thinking out of the box here sometimes when we're looking at using some everyday objects to be creative. But you know what? The patients really get into that. They would prefer to, they like that repurpose, reuse stuff too. And it is kind of cool what they come up with, and they're quite clever in that regard. Like I said, when it comes to art therapy, it's always good to have some basic supplies that even people have pretty low experience or ability with art can use, and then have more difficult things for the people who are more advanced and who need to be challenged, and also you don't want them to get bored. So you may encourage them to really think outside the box and do some different things. So anyway, this is the Reluctant Therapist here, and we will, sorry for my mess, but this